All right, friends. About 30 seconds ago, Todd said, "This is your thing.
It
You
is.
go." But let me tell you who watched not one,
Mm.
not two,
Oof.
but three Vanderpump Rules reunion specials,
Yeah.
all over 1 hour.
Yeah.
My friend Todd Quinones here.
That last one was a doozy. That was really long. I mean, come on.
But I want more. I'm going to watch the extended one on Peacock later. Shout out Peacock for the extended. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it for a second time. I need to I need to digest. I need to think more. It needs another viewing. I can't get enough. I cannot get enough. I have every single okay. I'm getting ahead. I can't even get a sentence out because I'm so baffled. The first thing, the comment about the t-shirt
Yeah.
was
Oof.
the
Wow.
most vile,
Yeah.
disgusting thing
True.
I have ever this not
Yeah.
hyperbole. I have ever heard a man say
Yeah.
a human say out loud to someone who they quote unquote loved, cared about.
Right. Well, right. And I think that line proves that he has actual contempt for her. Is it Ariana? Adriana? What is it?
Todd, you are killing me, man. We take one step forward, so many steps back. Ariana.
Ariana. Okay. Ariana. Sorry. It proves to me that he has actual contempt for her. I've always said all along, like I've always said all along,
For the last
Tom
3
is
weeks.
is the worst person on television right now. Just because, like, even when we were talking about last night when it aired, and they had asked Raquel, were you in love with him? And she said yes. And then they asked the same thing of him. You could see he's doing the calculations in his brain, and it's like, just
Hemming and it's not that
yeah,
difficult of a question.
grow a spine and say like, all right, we're in love, or you know what, it was lust, and I
Whoops.
don't love her, and whatever it is, just say it. Be a man.
No, you could see the gears moving in his mind.
Yes. Yeah. And so when he did the t-shirt reference, which I think might have been before that, I was like, man, you're just trying to, because it's really not a thing. I mean, let's be honest, right? It's not like, like a t-shirt isn't can or cannot be like it doesn't it's not like a thing.
Means
It's not like
nothing.
it's not
Right.
like we were making love and she started eating a tuna fish sandwich. Like that would be like, ooh, that
Cause
is
for
weird.
pause. All right.
I'd be like,
Maybe he's
that's
got a
true.
point.
Maybe that point there. But it's like, oh, she's last week we were wearing a t-shirt. I was like, wow, like you just tried to hurt her. That's
It
all
was
that was.
malicious. It
Yeah, it's
was
malicious.
malicious.
Yeah.
And at the same time, within that day that they were filming, he cried multiple
Oh,
times trying to
goodness
say, "I will
gracious.
always cheer for." Shut
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Shut. Actually, and I know everyone kept shutting him down, and it was a little frustrating as a viewer I'm like, I get you're angry, but
Yeah.
I want to hear some of the things.
It was a little too much Jerry Springer, all these episodes versus the show. What was the show episode? The
The
season
finale.
finale. Yeah, that was like, obviously as well done. There's higher production value. And watching the reunion stuff sometimes, all the screaming and yelling, and that was this is the stuff people who don't like to watch. This is what we point to and say, see, this is
This is it.
garbage. This is rotting your brain, America. Stop it.
I'm
Knock it off the
I'm
hot
gonna say
horse.
something that's controversial, and
Mm.
I'm fairly confident I'm gonna get some hate over this.
Ooh.
I think it went a little overboard towards Raquel.
Wow. Taking on
At some
big one
point,
there.
I think someone said probably Ariana. Ariana has every right to be angry forever, and this was filmed weeks after she found out.
Right.
But now, like watching it, and I think she was like, "You were nothing." Felt if I'm in her position, I 100% get it. But
Yes,
it
of
would
course.
it she's still like a 28-year-old kid.
Yeah.
An adult, knew the consequences, should have known the consequences.
Right.
I guess I'm walking it back a little bit, but it
Yeah.
was
But I think to your point, really, there was, I don't say sympathy, that's the wrong word, but there was some like, because at least she said the words, even though she didn't cry and then she did the other interview, which then she did cry, and so that we could get into that. It's a whole other thing in terms of
Whole other
motivation.
thing.
But at least during the reunion, she at least mouthed the words that you should say of someone in her position versus again Tom. So I think there was Tom's the bottom, and then she was like a little rung up, not much than
Not
Tom, just
I
because
agree, not
she seemed
much.
to she seemed to be, to use man woman, she seemed to be the bigger man of those two, or the more courageous. I should is probably a better word. I don't want to necessarily attach these things to men and women, but it's like she had the bigger backbone at least, even though she didn't cry, which is very strange. But then you had Tom crying all the time, and then
While he's talking crap about his sex life
yeah, and
on
then while
national
right,
television.
exactly. So it's like tears don't necessarily equate to sincerity. So at the very least, she said the words, and I do feel like also when she was watching in the trailer beforehand, it seemed to begin to dawn on her just a little bit, like, wow, these I've really destroyed some not lives, but I've destroyed some relationships here.
How was that a thought that was just now dawning on her? She
Mm,
seemed very disconnected to me for whatever reason, I don't know. But
yeah,
what was your thought about her the big reveal, which Bravo has been plugging, wait until the last 5 minutes, which was essentially her confessing that for some reason Sandoval or Sandoval's team or I have no idea who decided that let's just say we only hooked up once. No one believes that, but whatever.
yeah,
That was the line that he decided that they were going with. And then she was like, actually, we've been doing it all over the place, including her bed, including while she was grieving her dead dog and her grandmother who had just passed.
oof, yeah.
Maybe to earn some sympathy, but that also felt like a little I'm like, "I could have done without this." It felt an extra, like, jab at, like, guess
Yeah,
how bad it
I
is.
felt like it looked like a cleanup effort of some kind, although I don't know what the true objective was because it wasn't really done very well. So,
Yes, exactly.
like, so whatever the reason being, whatever her motivations being, it didn't seem to me to work. I don't really buy, and it's hard to, like, once a liar, always a liar kind of thing. And so, I didn't really buy that she sincerely just wanted to stop all the lying. Because then she really was reluctant to go. She still had that line in the sand where she didn't want to talk about, was it maybe being in their house?
Yeah, and she
Um,
said she didn't go to St. Louis.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yo,
and then they
there are
flashed the
photos of
picture.
you in St. Louis.
Yeah,
What are
right.
you
So
doing?
yeah,
What
so
are
you
you
come out
doing?
saying you want to stop the lies, and then you say, "I wasn't in St. Louis," and then there's a picture of you in St. Louis. It's like, what are we doing here?
So it was calculated, right? A
Right.
team, some advisors, her
Yes.
girlfriends, boyfriend, whatever the case may be, someone was like, "Listen," it
Yeah.
from a comms perspective, obviously, we're not involved in this. From a comms perspective, that's what it looked like. It was like, "Listen, say this, it's going to sound like you were manipulated by this guy, this older
Yeah.
man manipulated you, took advantage of you, told you this was a story, and now you're confessing. Hopefully, that will garner some sort of sympathy."
Yeah. Yeah, but it backfired because
But
she didn't do it.
I
You gotta
agree.
commit all the way, and you gotta be all in if you're gonna be like the true confessional. The other confessional was just partial confessional. Now this is the real true confessional. And then you still hem and haw. It's like, no, you don't. You actually just did yourself a disservice now because you just look like you're trying to very selectively paint yourself as I don't know, a victim or whatever it is. I don't know
Calculated,
what
I
she's trying to
think.
do.
It seemed calculated, just like
Yeah.
every step. I mean, there's just so much there's so much. The Halloween costumes. You're having an
Oh, that was
affair.
dark, man. That was some dark. I tell you what, I've seen some dark stuff on TV. I think that might have been the darkest thing I've seen on television in years, really. I
Todd,
mean,
if it was
you
a movie or a
yeah,
show, I would not believe you're like, "Okay, this is over. That's
you
too
you have
far."
jumped the shark. Here's
Yes.
Fonzie on the surfboard and his water skiing
Yes.
again. Like, this is I can't believe you. Like, you have lost me. Um, Yeah, no, no, he dressing up as
the mistress.
the mistress and the best friend, and like that
In
just shred that
front
again. That and the
of
T-shirt
her.
to me was like he has a deep underlying contempt for her, and is trying to show it, but doesn't have the guts to really own it and be out front with it. It was very subversive, and like, talk about a passive aggressive sort of behavior. That's if someone I have a 7-year-old, and he said, "Dad, can you show me an example of passive aggressiveness?" I would show him that Halloween costume. I'd be like,
I
"That
want to be
son
there
is
when you tell
passive behavior."
Benjamin about Scandoval.
Yeah,
I wanna
who
come over for
knew
dinner.
Vanderpump Rules could be lessons for 7-year-olds.
It was it that is why everyone has been captivated by this scandal, is because it is so unbelievable, and you're watching it unfold in like, you're watching it unfold while the people involved basically are living it.
Yeah,
And the just maliciousness, and when I know you just got involved 3 weeks ago, but we watched Ariana and Tom become a couple. I mean, it didn't start off the best, but we watched this entire
well,
relationship.
well, that's the other thing too. Is as I'm getting up to speed, is it Lala, right?
Lala.
And so I was asking Gosha, like, what is this thing? Because then she was getting all upset with uh, Raquel, and then Raquel saying, something about her Lala being called a mistress, right? And Raquel was saying, well, you refer to yourself as a mistress, and she's saying no, and then they played the video of her,
Roll
you
the
know.
tape.
I was like, the whole thing. I was like, is there anyone here in this group that's kind of like clean and unscathed, other than Lisa Vanderpump, right? And
No. Well, I think Andy at some point was like, every single person in this room has cheated on each other except for Katie, who is Schwartz's ex-wife.
right, and she's the one who I would say, for me, just sort of jumping into this and just seeing the reunion episodes and then the season finale, was the only one that seemed to be consistently pretty even keel, level headed. But I know there's a whole
There's a
backstory
lot.
that
We don't have
yeah,
time. We don't
yeah,
have time, but there's a lot. But she did seem, um, yeah,
yeah,
attacking, but in more appropriate ways, and did not have all the skeletons in her closet, I guess.
yeah. Yeah. So I saw also two things. Also, I realized, like, the live show afterwards with Andy Cohen.
Watch What Happens Live.
Yes, thank you. That's also what I became aware of. Is like, this is a whole universe of stuff, because it was Lala with someone else from another
Tamra Judge from Real Housewives of
from
Orange
another
County.
Real Housewife, right? So
You
I'm
guys,
like,
so
oh,
rarely
so
do I get to school Todd on literally anything on earth.
yeah.
And it's just, we need to do more Bravo content. It's
No,
very satisfying.
this might be, I'm tapping out after this, but I realized it was like, oh, they're sort of out with the old and introducing the new. It's like they've done the Spider-Man, movies, and now they're bringing back Iron Man, and so it's like, now we're going to get into Iron Man, and I was like, oh, there's a whole web of this kind of thing that I knew, but I didn't realize how interconnected they all were, and that they all kind of, in some ways, probably know each other.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's a real thing. Bravo celebrity. That's a word.
Is that what
No,
it is?
yeah, I
That's
thought
a
you were gonna
thing?
spit out your water.
Yeah, I don't have any more water, unfortunately. Bravo, what is it?
Bravo celebrity. Todd, that's real. I didn't
No.
make that up. I'm not
Well,
that
and then
clever.
what's her name is, Ariana's in all these commercials too. So I was like, good for her. She's cashing in,
Cleaning up. Good for her.
Good for her.
Good
Yeah. I
for her.
mean, hey,
You know
yes,
what I
good for
loved
her.
about her yesterday, when I think Schwartz kept saying, "Oh, you're gonna humiliate her," and she's like, "I was not humiliated. They were humiliated."
Yeah.
And I think there was another point when they're like,
I think that would,
"Oh." Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I would say, getting back on my soapbox of, but I think that really was a good lesson for everyone, right? Who, not they're going to find themselves in that exact situation, but when
If
you
you
have
find
some,
yourself cheating
yes,
on your 9-year partner
yeah, with your best friend,
with
right?
their best
Um,
friend.
But I think I like that. I like that she came out and she said that. And I think that's correct, because I think too often we as in sort of this is our society and the way we frame things and the words we use, see the person who's uh the victim, and we see them as being humiliated. And I think that's kind of what the way she said it. I thought that was, bravo to her. There we go. Um, for
See what
saying
you did
that
there.
and putting that out there in the universe, because I thought, yeah, you know what, good for you. You shouldn't be humiliated. You weren't the fool. You didn't act foolishly. You didn't
No.
do something that was lacking spine and character. That was the others, and so you shouldn't be um, humiliated, and shouldn't have to own that. So I thought that was actually very, very cool, because I had
And
never really heard anyone talk
no,
like that before.
I've never heard it that way. And I mean, yeah, obviously Raquel and Sandoval are the ones who come off looking terrible, but it
Right.
is that victim, like, "Oh, poor Ariana." Of course, poor Ariana, but
Sure.
they're the ones who look ridiculous
Yeah.
and foolish,
So I'm
to
I'm
say the
I'm
least.
curious, in the Bravo universe, is
Yes.
there going to be like a Dark Tom and Dark Raquel? What's next for
I
them?
don't know, Todd.
Because if listen,
I don't
I'm playing,
know.
like we like to play straight here. If I'm the producers, if I have the rights to all of this, I'm trying to figure out ways, how do you milk that? I'm just
How?
that's
That's
just
so I honestly I don't know. I don't know. I
yeah.
think probably the majority of, the people who are on here, they're making good money on this show, basically being themselves, and then they're able to use their position on the show to leverage endorsements and other gigs and deals. So do you wanna walk away from that because you're like, "I don't wanna film with them?" I don't know.
Yeah. Well, where are they gonna go to? That's my other question. If they walk away from this Bravo universe, where are they going? I mean, I don't know, but it doesn't seem to me, from what I've seen, that there's any obvious skill set that's gonna be, you know, uh, you know, applied to another career.
But if you're Ariana, are you we're just gonna go to dinner in, like, 2 months with Tom and Raquel? Is that what's happening? Because, like, you need to interact for this show to function.
Yeah. I mean, listen, judging by the soap commercials, I would say maybe like let's like like own it, and you could hate them, and you could ride this out. Why not? I mean,
I
you
mean,
didn't
when you
do
say
anything
it that
wrong.
way, and my knee-jerk reaction is like, "I don't wanna sit at dinner with my ex, like, for weeks on end, but I'm for the right price."
I mean,
I'll eat a
let's.
steak and sit on the other side of the table and call it a
I
day.
don't know has if anyone's jumped out of the Bravo universe and parlayed this into like another, like, acting, singing, whatever, entertainment career. But my assumption is probably not many. And so you want
Really
to,
going on a limb there with Arya.
I mean, and unless you're independently wealthy, where else are you going to get, where else are you going to get this kind of paycheck? How else do you get that? And so anyway, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But like
What
we were
about
saying, I
Raquel's
think,
family? I mean, or
yeah,
I guess anyone's family, I would think would and this is no judgment, I don't know, but if I'm very close to someone, I would want to advise them to, like, get out of this for your own mental health. Like, this is not I mean, to my point earlier, which again, I did talk back, people are calling you people are saying you were nothing on national television. Of course you messed up, it's trash, everything is terrible. But are you I how are you encouraging that person to continue going down that road at the detriment of their mental health? I don't know.
well, I think I would say this: if I was her agent or someone, I would say it can't really get much worse, can it?
Not agent, father,
There. Oh, father.
brother.
Right. True. No, of course. If you really love this person, you want to you want to pull them out. It's like going into battle and seeing your buddy down. Like, you just want to just go in there, just pull him out, just get him out.
Get
Like,
out.
let's just get on the helicopter. We're out of here.
Agent,
Done.
another story. You're right.
Agent. Yeah, I'm
I
not.
want that
I'm saying,
money.
I'd be like, listen, your dad loves you. Okay, no question. But is your dad going to be supporting you forever? Like that's
What is the nest? What is your backup plan? I
what is?
guess,
I mean,
but
honestly,
what is
what
it?
does
I
she
don't know.
do? What do any of these people do other than beyond this? Like honestly,
Raquel
what?
was a pageant girl who did not who aged out of being that's not a me thing. That is a pageant thing.
Mhm,
I tell you when to send hate mail. That's not on me. Take it up with Trump. I don't know. She has aged out of that world.
mhm.
So that is her thing. And
And
a lot
Tom,
like Lala has a lipstick, makeup, give them Lala. So they're doing things, but again, propelled from the show.
right, exactly. It's all tied to the show. So, and again, I listen. It's not a hard sell if you're a producer, if you own the rights to whoever that person is, Bravo and whoever. I don't know if it's a production company who actually does it. Um, but yeah, I'm bringing Tom. I can't wait to bring Tom and Raquel back and do the whole thing of
I'll throw some money at that because
do they or don't they?
they're
Do they
cleaning
get
up.
married? Is that the question? Are they going to have a family? Is that like where are we going with this? Do they cheat on each other and implode? Is there like there's that whole
Listen,
storyline. But
let's
by the
call
way,
it
which
what it is.
I am
It's
not going to watch. I am hereby tapping out of this whole universe. But it was been an interesting
let's give it some
peek
time.
into.
Let's give it some time. I think the only redemption is if they are star-crossed Romeo and Juliet lovers. They get married, have a baby. You're not going to hate a baby. And
Yeah.
I'm not excusing the behavior by I'm not saying
No.
that makes it okay, but I think that would be the only avenue to take to regain. I don't know. I'm afraid to say anything because everything is trash. I don't know.
Yeah. No, they're yeah. No, I just think, the reality of it is that and the same thing with Ariana is she could say she doesn't want to be in the same room with them ever again. I just and maybe that's so and maybe she'll walk away and but it'll be hard just knowing how the TV sort of world works, the money that would be on the table, the endorsements and everything that you could still get from it to say, why don't we do one more season or a limited season or a limited special edition, whatever, however you want to frame it, of something. What is that? I don't know, but I guess there's still gasoline that this fire needs to burn, and as
And
long as that's
a
out there,
producer and a
yeah,
production company, they're standing by with the match.
yeah.